Dudes, it's Gaz, and welcome back to another WARFRAME video. So we had some pretty massive changes to Netracells recently, and I thought I'd do a refresher course on how Netracells are doing in like late 2024. When these things first came out, they were terrible, and they're still not the best, but yeah, they've been some massive improvements over like the last year. So let's get right into it, and the more recent changes specifically as well. Before we do, make sure to sub the channel, do daily WARFRAME video uploads, news videos, build videos, discussion videos, all that kind of stuff. You're in the right place for WARFRAME content. Thanks for all the support on the recent videos, guys. Okay, so as far as the big changes that were made to Netracells, like, I think it was like a week ago or something like that, they were going to have these coming out in like, I think October or like whenever the 5 Fates of Comey or that new update's called is slated to come out. These changes were planned for then, but they actually released them now because they were already ready, and they're actually really, really nice changes. So the main changes we got recently are as follows. We've made the changes when playing Netracells with others more fun. The enemies no longer have to be in the circle for them to count. Only you need to be in there. Enemies will now also stick around closer to the zone. So Pablo making some good changes here, making it where when you are in the Netracell like security alert circle or what it's called, you no longer need to wait for enemies to walk into the circle. You need to just be in the circle yourself. And yes, before it was enemies must be inside the circle, and I believe you're to be in the circle as well to do this. So we're going to be giving you a rundown on how Netracells work with this new change. Basically, just nuke everything as hard as possible is the new change in Netracells. Bring a Speed Nova if you got one, that would be great. Bring a Vauban if you got one to pull enemies into the circle even more. But yeah, not as necessary. I just say mainly Speed Nova and a nuke frame is what you want to bring now. Now, as far as other things that have changed in Netracells over like the last months, if you haven't played in a while, let's go over a rundown of how big the loot improvements are. And we're doing a Netracell run-through explaining everything how you do it, totally solo. But yeah, guys, bring nuke frames for this now. Bring Saryn, bring Sevagoth. Bring like melee influence to AoE kill stuff. As quickly as you can kill stuff, honestly, even bring Mesa. We have someone on our team in Mesa in the footage in the background. Have Mesa stand at the edge of the circle at the door, and any enemy that Mesa sees, instantly gun it down with Mesa's pistols. That's an account with these changes. So, additionally, some changes that were made like last year, these no longer drop silver arcanes. If you can believe it, if you haven't been playing for a while, these used to drop some of the most common arcanes in the game, like the melee silver arcanes. That's been patched out. Now you're only going to get legendary arcanes, archon shards, and melee arcane adapters from the Netracells, okay? So they made them a lot better. But that being said, EDA is still technically better drop rates for those Archon Tau shards, the ones that are better than the normal shards, honestly. So let's get into what we have, and also we're just going to go ahead and show you what the rundown is here. So going over to Tag for, that's how you're going to start these missions. And yes, they're on the Kavia. You must beat lots of quests to get here, guys. You have to beat Whispers in the Wall. You got to beat New War, all that kind of stuff. You talk over this dog thing over here, and these are your Netracells.
I know you can take
5 of them per week, and these are the possible drops. Like I said, legendary arcanes, archon shards, and arcane adapters. There are some additional restrictions, like you can't, if you die, you can't respawn. If there's enhanced enemies and all that kind of stuff, so it's not as easy as like a normal sortie. But once you get the hang of it, yeah. There's also this over here. This will eat up 2 of your chances per week. You can do 5 looted runs of this per week. For the main loot at the end, okay? So let's go over what you can do as a solo player now with these new Netracell changes. And basically just go in there and you kill stuff as fast as you possibly can. But let's do a rundown of my Saryn run I just did for the purposes of this video. Alright, so we have my Sobek Saryn build. I'm not saying you couldn't do other things that are different than this, but yeah, I'm just running Sobek Saryn. So we got Acid Shells, we got Energy Nexus, we got the Sobek. I know it says Tenant Sobek, but there is no Tenant Sobek, so we want to put on Cleanse the Murmur with the Acid Shells Augment mod, and as many Toxin proc mods as possible. Saryn's third ability gives you more damage if you have more Toxin mods, so that's good to have. Also got the Lex Prime. You can bring any pistol you want for this, but I said the Lex Prime for hitting enemies hard, which I don't think I used the Lex Prime the entire mission, to be honest. And for our last item here, we've got the Melee, the Praetos. Literally just used for increased parkour and sprint speed, but I'll show the build anyway just in case. Like, again, it did not really get used at all here. We're mainly using Saryn's third ability and the Sobek's Acid Shells mod. For your companion, bring something that can easily heal you or easily give you your shield back. So, Diraga, Nautilus, whatever really. And like, there's easier ways to do this too, but yeah, the more nuke, the better. You could bring Wisp with Wisp motes. Wisp motes are like idiot-proof for this, basically. And yeah, I mean, whatever, seriously. Just go in there and kill enemies as fast as possible. And the Verglas will be helping, because now that the Verglas Prime exists and Nautilus Prime exists, those little minions can do lots of work. When you're in the circle, your little Nautilus minions will go out and kill enemies for you while you're in the circle, so that's great. Now, if you're doing these solo, you're going to pick up every single key glyph, every single debuff, but don't worry, the debuffs are not very extreme. You're looking at like 2 health drain per second if you're not jumping on some of these. So I don't even read what they do, I just picked them up. So it looks like we have Nice Step key glyph giving us damage over time, Avoid Burst key glyph making enemies explode, Vampire key glyph making us lose health, and then Electric key glyph making us get shocked by lightning. Those don't even matter. Even on a non-tanky Saryn, those don't matter. As long as you remotely play the game right. As long as you're killing enemies quick enough and you're running... I'm actually running Vazarin Focus Tree. If I use Vazarin Focus Tree properly, I can just Void Dash through myself and make myself invincible. Now, the Netracell has started. Here's what we're doing. We're going to go find these computers, and we're going to hack 2 to 3 of these computers. These computers will make it where it's easier to find where the Netracell itself is. We're looking for like a vault here. So the yellow circle gets smaller. That Netracell is in the yellow circle. There are some things you can use to like indicate where exactly it will be. I'm going to show you that when we get there. But yeah, you're just basically going for like 2 of those computers, just quickly knock it out. This is where Titania can be very good. So where Volt can be very good. I've got Saryn's Molt making me faster too. Very good for that. Yeah, just we want to be running speedrun frames for this. Gauss could also work too, guys. So you have your options. Not to mention Nova will also work better than ever because Speed Nova is now more valuable than ever with these changes. So now that I've gotten 2 computers, we're looking for the yellow room. You can get a third one if you want to, but you don't usually need a third computer unless you're like really not wanting to like pay much attention. But yeah, but we're looking for this room for where the Netracell will be. There's things you want to be looking out for. Individually, you want to be looking out for, there's a little like conduit thing in the room. If you see this little conduit thing in the room, I'm going to pause it when we find it. That means the Netracell is connected. So right here, in the middle of the room, you see that little, I don't even know what that thing's called, like it's the Netracell thing. That means that one of these connector rooms is the Netracell itself. Now, I've spent a bunch of time wasting a bunch of time here checking every little room, but spoiler, it's on the right. It's the right side room. It's a connector to this. So if you see that thing, that means the Netracell is right by. If you have all 4 key glyphs, you can open up that Netracell, or rather, start the Netracell up. So I make the mistake of not going all the way down this hallway. It's not the end of the hallway, by the way. So I wasted like another like 10 seconds here not going to that hallway. But once we go back, I'm like, oh yeah, you know, I should have probably checked the end of that hallway. That's where your Netracell starts at, and that's where the changes are going to come into effect. So you activate that, and now you must kill enemies while you are inside the circle, in the red circle in this room. There will be some Necromites spawning every like 33% of the bar, which will pause your progress. But yeah, it's as simple as just staying alive and killing enemies at this point. The more nuking, the better. This is why Sevagoth is quite good for this. That's why Mesa is quite good for this. You know, Saryn and others as well. So the problem I ran into here is I didn't really have that much energy, but that's okay, because Sobek Saryn can get the job done. So as you see, enemies are running into the circle. I could technically be killing these enemies outside the circle, and it would be still counting, so that's good. But yeah, guys, as long as you can stay alive and kill stuff here, you have a very easy time. I'd say the best frames for this now are going to be frames like... definitely, like, not Octavia. I guess Octavia actually would work, but yeah. Saryn going to be great because of all that damage. Sevagoth to be great because of all that percent health. Nuking, like if you use my Sevagoth build from my previous video with Dark Propagation and Shadow Haze, you'll be taking care of this no problem. And actually, Gloom is not even a downside anymore because Gloom will slow them down. Not like you actually care if they're slowed down, because as long as you can see them, they're going to be dead. So, yeah, great change here. I think that DE is making some good changes on these updates. Now, additionally, there is going to be... I've heard horror stories already. There are still people in public matchmaking outside the circle killing every enemy. So there's nothing you can really do about that, guys. I would not recommend running these solo if you can avoid it, because the amount of enemies you need to kill actually does go up with a squad as well. So the more players in your squad, the longer it can take. I mean, it's not that big of a difference. Like, it's still more fun to play with other players, in my opinion. But yeah, if you're going to hunt down these Necromites on these percentages here, they are set locations. So once you do these enough, you'll be used to where all the Necromites spawn at. But it's basically a big blue glowing robot. You can see it from across the room. And these spots are set spawn locations, guys. I think there's like 3 or 4 spawn locations in that room we were just in. So over time, you'll get used to them. Just listen for the Necromites like beeping sound and just look around in the area. AoE frames that can break objects like Zaku and Limbo can be very good there. Not to mention Nova's Nova's second ability, the explosion attack, can actually take out Necromites through the wall as well. So very good stuff there. Now, should you be doing EDA and Netracells every week? I would say yes. And this just makes Netracells less annoying. They didn't really make them like more rewarding, they just made them less annoying to run. So they're probably like the same exact speed. I mean, actually, technically probably not, because in the long run, there's more enemies to be outside the circle than actually inside the circle, so I might have to make a new build for Saryn in the future that's like a crazy spore build for this, but for right now, just use my Sobek Saryn build. And yeah, I think you guys can be pretty lazy with your options here. Bring like, just frames that can speed them up, frames that can nuke, and that's basically it, so. See you guys in the next video. Just a quick Netracell run through here. They're pretty straightforward, and they're just better than ever. So, see you guys next time. Appreciate the support. Take it easy. Bye.